310864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock.
He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a Friday here on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Ryan Milano, holding it down throughout the day, and boy, is it a packed weekend in Oregon athletics. A big-time win for the Ducks on the farm last night for Oregon basketball. A 78-65 victory for Dana Altman's squad, and a big road win for the Ducks in that capacity, with a career high in points for Jadrian Tracy. Also, the freshman Jackson Shelstad had a very strong outing for the Ducks as well. We'll break all of that down. Also yesterday, a doubleheader for Ducks softball, splitting the doubleheader, a win against the UCF Knights and a loss against the Baylor Bears, 4-3 in game number 1, 3-2 in game number 2, in what were two incredibly great softball games. KWVA had the call. I was listening tonight, Uretsky, for the back end of that Baylor game. Tremendous games, just a tremendous day of softball, and well, they're going to have some more games coming up throughout the weekend. Also, Oregon Beach volleyball, they were in action this morning in Louisiana, ended up dropping their season opener 3-2 to Stephen F. Austin, closing up their second match against Tulane right now as we speak. You can get stats and get updated on GoDucks.com for all of that, and there are 26 events this weekend for Oregon athletics. Between the end of the show yesterday and from when I will take air here on Duck Insider on Monday, there will be 26 Oregon events. We'll go through all of them on the show today and get you prepared for what you need to know. I am going to, right after this show finishes, run over to PK Park because it's the home opener for Oregon baseball against PK Park coming up today against Lafayette. That game at 4 o'clock. And students, you've done a great job already. The season hasn't even started. Congratulations, students. You guys are awesome. Already selling out the first allotment of student tickets, already selling out the second allotment of student tickets. Earlier this morning, a third allotment of student tickets was open. So, students, great job. Let's continue that energy from the Super Regional last year and bring it every single game to PK Park this year. Let's make PK Park the most feared place to play in the pack. I think that is a attainable goal if we can continue to bring that same energy from the Super Regionals last year. It's also Oregon women's basketball game day up in Washington. The first time in over a month that Oregon women's basketball will not play a team ranked inside of the top 20. It's the Ducks versus the Huskies tonight. 7 o'clock tip, 6:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network with Chris Clayton. Those are just a few of the 26 events for Oregon athletics this weekend. Let's break the one down last night, the victory for Oregon men's basketball against Stanford, because the Ducks were able to pull off the 78-65 victory on the farm. And immediately watching this game, to jump right out of the gates, the defensive intensity for Oregon really stuck out on the screen. You could see Jackson Shelstad on the floor diving for balls. There were deflections all over the place. Oregon only had 5 steals in this ball game. 4 of them came in the first half. I thought the defensive intensity, especially in the first half, was incredibly strong. I think that if you look at the deflections numbers, which I don't have, but Coach Altman definitely does, if you ask him, I think that it was a tremendous defensive day, getting in passing lanes, tipping passes, getting the hand on the basketball, and making it really difficult for the Stanford Cardinal to generate anything in the half court offensively. Oregon just did a tremendous job defensively. In the first half of this game between Oregon and Stanford, it was close. It was back and forth pretty much the whole time. The Ducks actually opened up down 5 pretty early in the first half. But then back-to-back Jadrian Tracy threes sparked a 10-0 run. That would be a theme in this ballgame, and especially in the first half. Once Stanford had a little bit of momentum, bam Tracy, he'd come in and bam, 2 threes, knock him down, 10-0 run for the Ducks. Then Stanford, after that run, brought it back within 1. A Tracy 3 and a Tracy layup stretched the lead right back out for Oregon. Tracy ended up closing the first half with a 3-pointer. It gave Oregon an 8-point lead going into the break, and it would give Jadrian Tracy an Oregon high for his career of 16 first-half points. His previous Oregon high was 15 points. He scored that in the first half. He was making shots, and, really everyone on the team was making shots. For the game, the three-point percentage, 48% for the game, 12 of 25 from deep were the Ducks. The three-point shots were falling. Dana Altman, he's talked so much, I've heard him say this more than a few times, that throughout the course of a season, if you look at the 30 games of the year, there's going to be 10 times you shoot the lights out, there's going to be 10 times you don't shoot worth a darn, and there's going to be 10 times where you shoot just okay. Well, last night, Oregon shot the lights out. The Ducks could not miss last night. And so the Ducks, they took that 8-point lead after the Jadrian Tracy 3 into the break. And in the second half, here come the freshmen. It was a freshman-led second half between KJ Evans and Jackson Shelstad, where both of the freshmen were in sync, in particular with each other. Early in the second half, a Kwame Evans Jr. dunk and a three-pointer gave Oregon a 13-point lead. The three-pointer assisted by Jackson Shelstad. Then Shelstad made a 3 of his own and found KJ in the corner for another three-pointer. Oregon got up by as much as 17 in the second half. Then Stanford went on a 7-0 run. And, for Oregon basketball as of late, you're kind of clutching your fist a little bit. You're getting just a little bit nervous watching that score as Oregon, last game against Oregon State, Ducks had a double-digit lead and let Oregon State shrink it to where the Ducks had to have a shot at the buzzer in order to get the win against the Beavers and Gill. That had been a theme for Oregon kind of throughout Pac-12 play, had been taking advantage and getting the lead against these Pac-12 opponents in a pretty substantial one, but then sort of in the back end, a backdoor cover, if you will, to get within 10 points or within 7 points. I don't know the actual spread. I don't look at that stuff. But just to get back within to a single-digit game, that is something that Oregon didn't do in this game against Stanford. It was down the stretch. Stanford went on their 7-0 run, but then the freshman, just like he did at the beginning of the second half, Jackson Shelstad answered. Stanford went on another mini run. Jackson Shelstad answered. Oregon continued their momentum and maintained their momentum down the stretch as they would continue to answer every time Stanford would go on a little bit of a run and never even really let the Cardinal get back within single digits in the second half after Oregon ballooned it out to that 13-point lead early in the period. The Ducks would end up closing with a 13-point win, 78-65 the final score for the Ducks against the Cardinal as, tremendous games for a whole lot of Ducks, and I thought maybe the most complete team win for Oregon since Keyshawn Bartholomew went down with his injury. Oregon continuing to find ways to evolve the rotation. Dana Altman continuing to mess with ways that he can get a bunch of different guys involved in the rotation. And, I thought that maybe the two biggest difference makers in this game were Cario Oquendo and Brennan Rigsby, because what they provided was the ability to sit Jackson Shelstad for a little bit, or sit N'Faly Dante, or have Jadrian Tracy or Jermaine Kuznar go to the bench for just a touch so that the legs were fresh down the stretch, where when opposing teams had made their runs late, Oregon didn't allow an opposing team to make their run late in this game against Stanford because the legs for Oregon were fresh, and I thought that Cario and Brennan did a tremendous job in order to help supplement some of that bench production that was lost with Keyshawn Bartholomew being out, with Nate Biddle being out. I thought it was a really good job from the reserves for Oregon coming into this game. The statistics in this one, the big difference maker, the three-point shooting. Oregon couldn't miss. 48% from deep, 12 of 25 from three-point land for Oregon in this game. Also, the assists. The Ducks had 19 assists on 31 made field goals. You'll hear Jadrian Tracy talk a little bit about that coming up in a moment. Also, individual stats for Oregon. Well, talking about Jadrian Tracy, he couldn't miss himself. He had 20 points, career high. 8 of 13 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. All of those coming in the first half, and all of those coming in big moments that really seemed to swing the momentum in Oregon's favor. One after the Stanford run to go up 5. Well, then here's 2 Tracy threes to get the lead right back. Stanford goes back and comes back into the game, and okay, here's Bam Tracy with another 3. And then right before the break, Jadrian Tracy, another 3. Momentum, all of the threes. Big for Jadrian Tracy. He also had 5 rebounds and 2 assists in this ball game. Jackson Shelstad, he had a little bit of trouble over the last month to have the same production that he did early in the season. Scouting reports a big deal, a big part of that. We heard Coach Menega on Tip-Off Tuesday talk a little bit about how scouting reports have changed on Jackson Shelstad. We heard Dana Altman talk about that throughout the week as Jackson Shelstad has had a little bit of emphasis put on him from opposing team scouting reports. Well, over the last 2 games, Jackson Shelstad has been really good. And in this game, 19 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. 5 rebounds, 7 assists, just 1 turnover for the freshman. That is a tremendous game for Jackson Shelstad. And N'Faly Dante, he was quiet for N'Faly Dante standards and yet still put up a double-double. 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. Kwame Evans had 9 points. He knocked down 2 3-pointers. That was big for the Ducks. And then the 2 unsung heroes who, well, shouldn't be unsung. Kerry Oquendo and Brennan Rigsby. Oquendo with 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 2 of those 9 points coming on a ferocious dunk on a Stanford Cardinal player. And then Brennan Rigsby. He had 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. A decent, well-rounded stat line for Rigsby, but where he really made the most impact in this game was defensively. He was on the floor for loose balls. He was tipping the ball away, getting deflections, getting in passing lanes. I thought that Brennan Rigsby did a really good job on the defensive side of things, and that was a big emphasis for Dana Altman, is really challenging both Gary Oquendo and Brennan Rigsby not only to be more productive on the offensive side, but also be more productive on the defensive side. I thought that for Oregon, this game against Stanford, it might be their best game of the season. It's definitely on the short list in terms of road games, Pac-12 play, getting a 13-point win against a team that's difficult to beat at home. There were a whole lot of factors that Stanford kind of had going into their favor. They already beat Arizona and Utah at Maples Pavilion. The Ducks came in and didn't really make it seem like Stanford had a home court advantage. The Ducks go on to win 78-65 to secure the Thursday night victory over the Cardinal, which is big moving forward for not only NCAA tournament outside of the bubble is Oregon right now. They need wins to get back on to the right side of the bubble, but also for the Pac-12 tournament. Oregon holding on to that 3 slot. They want that bye. They want to go directly into the quarterfinals. They don't want to have to play that first-round game. A whole lot to be happy about for the win for Oregon basketball last night. Dana Altman met up with Joey Mack courtside after the game to break down the win. Here is Coach Altman.
78, Stanford 65, and Coach Altman joins us. And Coach, finished it off by double digits. Probably happy with the way your team finished the game here tonight.
Absolutely. We gave up 1 easy basket there late. You know, a lot of our finishes, we haven't scored a lot of points, but more importantly, our defense in the last 5 minutes has been really bad. Just guys getting 5-6 possessions in a row. And other than the 3 we gave up in transition where KJ just lost his guy there, I thought we did a lot of good things. So Jackson played really good. I thought Brennan gave us some really good defense. Cario got going again. We shot the ball well. That always helps. But I thought we did a lot of good things defensively. And on a night where Jermaine, didn't shoot it very well, we had other guys step up.
How about Bam Tracy stepping up, Coach? A career high for him in points here tonight. What'd you see from Bam?
Well, he played really good. That first half, he hit a couple threes and He had a bad turnover to start second half and did some things, got a little carried away with himself, but he did a lot of good things defensively and offensively.
You touched on hitting shots, Coach. Felt like a lot of them were good looks. What'd you think tonight?
We had 19 assists.
Yeah.
We made plays for each other, like the two that KJ hit in the corner. Jackson, 7 assists, 1 turnover. I mean, I thought he got in the middle and made some really good plays for guys. We had some really good ones that we missed, but I thought our penetration kicks were really good tonight.
+7 on the glass in the second half.
Oh, without a doubt. We're now 12-1 when we out-rebound people. The formula is not that difficult to figure out. We hold people under 70, we win, and most of the time, and we out-rebound people, we win most of the time. And I thought our rebounding effort was really good. Dante, I think he had 11, 12 boards. He did a good job.
I was going to say, quietly, he has 11 rebounds, Coach. Just another night at the office for N'Faly Dante.
Yeah, he really did a good job, and they doubled him every time he got it, so I thought he did a good job there.
Good takeaways heading to Cal now, I bet.
Yeah, just 4 o'clock game. We got to turn around here and get ready to go.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
All righty, thanks.
A lot of things for Coach Altman to be happy about after the win for Oregon basketball last night against Stanford. A crucial win, a quad 2 win for Oregon basketball on the road. That helps out the tournament resume as Oregon continues to build to try to get themselves on the right side of the bubble. We heard from Coach. Now we're hearing from the player who had, well, maybe the best game of his career. Certainly scored a career high in points. Jadrian Tracy provided the spark early in the ball game, and after the ball game, he joined Joey Mack courtside. Here's Bam Tracy.
See that, when you get a career high, Bam Tracy gets stuck coming out and talking on the post-game show. So I appreciate the time, Bam. He's getting comfortable. But a 13-point win. All right, so you go on and you guys are down by 5, and then you hit back-to-back threes, and then you all never looked back. You're feeling it early out there? Take us through it, Bam.
Really, we had 19 assists for 30 buckets.
Yeah.
So it means our guys were making plays for each other. And Coach been telling us, if you're ready to shoot, let that thing go and hit it. So that's just something that we all been ready to shoot, making plays for each other.
When you're feeling it early on like that, what's that like as a player? Like, you just know it? It just clicked tonight?
You kind of just feel it. You can't just feel it. When you see that ball go through the bottom of the net one time, especially for your first shot, it feels pretty good. But you can feel it. You can feel it when
so when the shots go in, obviously you feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach was really happy with you guys' defense tonight. What did you guys think as players?
We've really just been buying in these last few games, really just trying to lock in and play better defense. We knew that if they're a good scoring team, a very good scoring team, and really we were all talking about it all week collectively as a group that we want to come in here and get stops and beat these boys that they play. So that's something that we did.
You guys did that. I felt like, there's been a few games where it's gotten a little closer than maybe you all would have liked, but it felt like you finished here tonight, Bam.
Yeah.
How can you build on that now moving forward?
We got dudes coming. Like I said in the beginning of the season, we have 7, 8 dudes that can start. You know what I mean? So we got some dudes stepping up all across the board. You know what I mean? Jackson played very well tonight. Cario, Brennan. Dante didn't have the best offensive night, but he was all over the place on the boards, on the glass. And when him and Jermaine are leading like that, we're a very tough team.
I said this to Coach. He got 11 rebounds, and it seems like it wasn't his best night. That's Dante, I guess, right?
Yeah, when like I said, when Jermaine and Dante are out there leading, even when they're not having the best nights, we're a really tough team. And tonight we came together, and everybody pitched in to help get this win.
Last thing for you, just how do you guys build on it moving forward, 4 o'clock against Cal Saturday?
Like Coach keeps saying, next game. We got a few more games left, but we're focusing on the next game. They jumped out on us at our place, so I know we want to come back and we want to do it to them boys at their place. So.
Sounds good. Bam, thanks for the time, buddy.
Thank you, my man.
That's Jadrian Tracy talking with Joey Mack post-game after his career-high 20 points, also 5 rebounds, 2 assists, made 4 3-pointers in the game, did Jadrian Tracy. He talked about how this team over the last few games has really bought in, and that's exactly what you need at the end of the year, and it feels like that's a consistent theme with Coach Altman teams over the last few years and really over the last decade for Oregon basketball with Coach Altman. Is when it comes down to the stretch run of the year, basketball teams start to win a whole lot of games, and right now Oregon is bought in at the right time, and they've had to kind of shift their identity, and they've had to buy into a whole bunch of different philosophies and rotations because the team was supposed to look different about 3 or 4 different times with a few different key injuries. Now this unit, where Coach Almany's mentioned it, 8 scholarship guys that are getting in the rotation for Oregon basketball, well, they're bought in to this new rotation, and, well, it showed. A tough place to play at Maples Pavilion last night. It didn't look like it for the Ducks. Oregon, a 13-point, 78-65 victory for Oregon basketball to win against Stanford last night. We got to get to our first time out, and when we come back, we're talking with an undefeated coach. That's next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano, taking you through today's show. Also taking you through Oregon baseball's home opener, starting at 4 o'clock. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, right after the show, I'm going to go run across the complex over to PK Park, where Oregon will open up their homestand against Lafayette. Oregon lacrosse has opened up their home season and their season in general with, well, 2 really big wins. And by big wins, I mean they won by a lot. 19-8 against Youngstown State, and then 17-7 against St. Francis. Coach Jess Drummond, her first 2 games as the head coach, she's undefeated. I had the opportunity to sit down with Coach Drummond earlier in the week. Here's our talk with the head coach of the Oregon women's lacrosse team. Here with Jess. Oregon head lacrosse coach Jessica Drummond is here. The winningest coach in Oregon history. Coach, how does it feel to be so prestigious?
Oh, my gosh. Stop. Settle down over there.
2-0, another win over the weekend against St. Francis, a 17-7 win. But take me into game number 2. Game number 1, on the sideline, it's your first game as a coach. Game number 2, were you as nervous? Was it a different vibe over there? What was it like?
Yeah, definitely a different vibe. I feel like we had a lot of excitement week 1, and I was just trying to get, how do we find more excitement around each game, like coming into each week. I will be honest, we didn't have our best week of practice, so going into Friday, I'm like, okay, here we go. We got to pull this out, figure it out. But it was a great learning opportunity, and I'm glad we can take lessons away with a win.
You going into it into the game, it started a little bit slow. You mentioned like the practice, the early second quarter was tied at 2 apiece. What was it like at that moment in the ball game? And then as you move forward, you end up outscoring your opponents 15-5 for the rest of it. So take me into that moment. What changed?
Yeah, so first quarter hits. I'm like, oh, this ain't pretty. We got to find a way to reset. And so I just brought everyone in. I was like, everyone close your eyes, and you need to take 3 deep breaths. Like, just everyone reset. We're so fine. We just need to find our Oregon way and just get it done and just chip away. And so I just trying to kept hyping them up to turn on that next level. I'm like, you guys have more you can give right now. Turn it up. Let's elevate how we're playing. And then, it really helped having Rachel and Anna be just like boom, 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 go-getters. Rachel set a record for 11 draw controls, which is the most in a single game. So I think her being that spark on the draw really fired up everyone else to be like, okay, great, we can get the ball, possess it, now let's find a way to score.
Yeah, I want to talk about both those players. We'll get to them in just a second. But I want to also talk about your mentality when you're talking to your team in those type of situations. Do you draw from your experience as a player and what you would have wanted in those spots? Or is it just what you think your team needs as a coach in that moment specifically?
Yeah, I think as a player, if I don't ever want them to think like, oh, snap, can we not win this game? So to me, I'm like, confidence in all that we do, but it's not just going to be given to us. So my whole thing is hustle for the ground balls, turn up our effort, work hard on the draw control, move that ball and just focus on having a little bit cleaner stick work. That was just a couple of takeaways each quarter. I was like, okay, we've done this, check mark. Now we've got to change this. Let's fix this. And I honestly just tried to keep them in a positive headspace, so I didn't want them to spiral. And once they were having fun again, that's where I felt like that spark was lit.
You mentioned Rachel Paolo, 11 draw controls. In the opener, you were up 3-0 before the other team even possessed it. How important is that draw control in getting those possessions?
Oh, it's so key. And when we have that kind of speed around the circle, credit to Haley Cummins who takes the draw. She's the one that's putting it out on that circle for everyone to kind of scoop it up. And that sets the tone. That allowed Rachel to get a draw control, dump it off to Anna to push those fast breaks, just be that spark of like, oh, yeah, we're good. We're fast. We can move that ball, and we can score a goal.
What makes a good draw control, and how do you practice it? How do you get better at draw controls?
Yeah, that's so true. I'm like, we should probably talk about the draw. So Haley is one of our draw takers. So she is trying to place it either to herself or around the circle, and it's all about reading and communicating. So we're kind of, they're talking to each other. She'll probably be like, Rachel, telling her where to go around that circle where it's going to end up. And so she's almost boxing out the circle player to then race to that ball.
I want to switch gears, not from just the draw, but also to the offensive end.
Yeah.
Goal scoring. Anna Simmons, 6 goals. A hat trick. Is this a double hat trick?
Yeah.
Is she wearing 2 hats?
Right? And I think she had a hat trick last game. I'm like, just get her a tally how many hat tricks you get each game.
Do you even know what it's called? A hat trick,
No,
double hat trick?
I don't. Is there a word for it?
I think we might need a double hat trick. El double hat trick for Anna Simmons. She scored 6 goals, but that's important when a player is that effective on the offensive side of things.
I couldn't agree more. And she just has such speed and determination and grit. And, I gave them a massive shout out in practice on Sunday of like, that is the effort and hard work I want everyone to be playing at. Like, to me, that is our expectation. That is ingrained in how Oregon lacrosse is that you're just out there and you're working every play through your best that you can. And so I just gave them a ton of props. Rachel didn't put up a ton of points, but she's key and essential everywhere else on the field. She scooped up, I think, 6 ground balls, which is insane. And then those draw controls, and I think Anna putting that at the back of the net for Rachel was just a great connection for the two of them.
Last week when you were talking to Joey, you mentioned offensively that assist was something you really wanted to work on. How do you feel like your team addressed that going into that next game? And is it something you still want to work on?
Yeah,
forward?
I definitely still want to work on it, but I think we did a much better job of moving on offense and clearing space for each other to provide those lanes for a 1v1 drive. So if we're not getting the assists, at least we're clearing space to find an open lane to goal.
Early in the season, you've been putting up a lot of goals. 15, 17, that's a high number.
Yep.
How do you keep that offensive pace, and what's attributed to the high offensive pace?
You go back to the draw. If we get that ball off the draw, then we have the ball on our stick in offense, and we have an opportunity to score. And so I think it's always kind of a battle of winning those draw controls and taking advantage of our opportunities once we get that ball on offense. And our team definitely is thriving under that, which I love.
Once again, in net, you split time pretty evenly between your two keepers. Take me into that battle. What's been going on there, and who is continuing to embrace that competition?
Yeah, we told them before I announced starters at pregame meal on Friday, and I pulled them aside of just heads up, we're going to split time. You know, you both are doing so great this week, but they both give such different looks that I'm like, why not have them see that against another team? You know, throw something up in there, give a little change. They both played great to what we needed them to do, and they both bring such different strengths, which is awesome. And I think that can really kind of mess with an opposing team of like, oh wait, the goalie's switching. What's going on? What's their strengths? And trying to figure out that in game is challenging.
Next game coming up this weekend, Sunday at 2 o'clock at Pape. What are the keys to success in that game?
Yeah, this team is going to be the most physical team that we've faced so far. So us just sticking to our game plan, staying under control, staying composed, limiting our fouls. That's like my goal. We did not do a great job in the first game, and we actually had more fouls this past game. So I'm like, we have got to clean it up. So that's going to be a huge focus for us, especially playing against a team that is more physical than us, of trying to not match that, but just staying composed and playing our game.
Going up against Marist. Here's the schedule for Sunday. So baseball starts at 2 o'clock. I think I could throw a baseball from the booth at PK over to Pape. Your game starts at 2. So if you're a fan out there, you have options. Baseball will start at noon. You should be there Sunday against Lafayette for the Ducks on the baseball diamond. And then Coach Jess Drummond and her team are getting an action at 2. So you could stay for the whole baseball game, come over at halftime. You could stay until 6th, 7th inning, go over for the full game. There's options for fans.
That's so fun.
It's a great complex when you can just walk right over.
Right.
And the fun never stops. The game never ends.
There's so much energy and music all around, so you feel like you're included on both sides.
And if a home run is hit, you guys
we'll catch it with our nets.
Energy.
Yeah, or we'll catch it with our sticks. Easy. We'll just throw it right on back.
Do you think it would count if you guys scored with a baseball?
Yeah, no. They'd probably like timeout. What's happening? I'm like, oh, but that'd be very, very cool.
Here is to 3-0, a 1,000 winning percentage for Coach Jess Drummond. Coach, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
That was our conversation a few days back with Coach Jess Drummond of the Oregon lacrosse team. Seriously, for Sunday, it is going to be a great day for Oregon athletics. It's actually going to be a great weekend for Oregon athletics. I mentioned at the top of the show, 26 events going on this weekend for Oregon athletics. But 2 of them for Oregon baseball on Sunday and Oregon lacrosse on Sunday, just make it a doubleheader day. You can come over to baseball, come over to PK Park, watch Oregon versus Lafayette for the 4th game of that 4-game set that's starting today at 4 o'clock today, but it'll start at noon on Sunday. Come over for that game, and then, if you're sitting in the stands, you look over and you see lacrosse about to start, then maybe you go over and support Coach Jess Drummond's team, or you wait for the end of what's going to be a good baseball game, and then, you're walking out, you're thinking about going home, and then, actually, let's go stop over at Pape and support the lacrosse team and help get them to 3-0 and help Coach Drummond maintain her undefeated status as a head coach. We'll continue to harp on it as long as it continues to stay true. And, with her 2 big wins to start off the season, I don't know. Might be a good omen moving forward, and hopefully a lot of fans come out to Pape over the weekend. Also on Sunday, one of the 6 events that's going on for Oregon athletics, it's going to be Oregon acrobatics and tumbling on the road against Baylor. We're talking to the head coach of the Oregon Acro-Tum squad when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back in the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano. We just talked with lacrosse coach Jess Drummond. I also had the opportunity earlier in the week to chat with the Oregon acrobatics and tumbling coach Taylor Susnara. A 1-0 Taylor Susnara after Oregon Acro-Tum made a comeback to beat Hawaii Pacific in their opening meet of the year. It was the first time I'd ever been to an acrobatics and tumbling event, and, well, I had to apologize to Coach Susnara for that. So my apology and the preview of what's a number 1 versus number 2 matchup coming up this weekend for the Oregon acrobatics and tumbling team. Here's my conversation with Coach Susnara. We welcome in Taylor Susnara into the show, into the studio. It's a 1-0 Coach Taylor Susnara. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
1-0 off the weekend. And first, I do have to issue an apology before we start because I had never been to an acrobatics and tumbling event before this weekend, or rather 2 weekends ago. That was one of the most fun I've ever had at a sporting event, I think, ever. So I owe you an apology. I can guarantee it won't be my last time at an acrobatics and tumbling event.
Good. Yeah, apology accepted as long as you show up.
I think that you'll do a better justice than me for this, describing the energy from a fan perspective sort of in the arena while it's going on. Because for me, I walked in, I wasn't sure what to expect, and the whole time I was having fun, I was dancing, I was cheering. It's fun to go to these events.
Yes, it is. The fan base in Matthew Knight Arena is unmatched, and the energy in there was just so great. And, you know, they chant back, "Go Ducks," to the team and gets them fired up. And so, you know, we love being at home.
So, incredible comeback against Hawaii Pacific, down early, coming all the way back. You win in the team event. Sort of describe what was going on for you guys on the floor. What was the emotion like? What was the mindset like? And how did you guys pull off that comeback?
Sure. You know, leading up to the meet, we felt really good. We were confident in our skill set. You know, once we got to, you know, acro event and that 6-element heat where we had that pretty big fall and missed element, that hurt us pretty bad. We weren't expecting it. It's not how we practiced. And so we kind of had to turn it on and pull it back together, kind of going into the second half. And, you know, the main thing that we say is us versus us and 0-0 from a score perspective heading into every single heat and event. You know, tumbling wasn't our very best that day. It's one of our stronger events, and, you know, we didn't quite show up. So Hawaii Pacific was doing a good job, and they have a great coaching staff. And, you know, thankfully we pulled it together in the team event to be able to pull out the win. But, you know, just a lot of grit going into that routine for sure.
How much do you prepare for the eventuality that there might be a stumble and there might be a setback and the other events might need to pick up a particular one? How much do you prepare for that?
We try and prepare the best that we can, and a lot, you know, in practice, you're falling, you're hitting your skills, and when the mistakes do happen, we really try our best to kind of talk through the mental toll it can take and how to kind of recover from that, and picking up where you left off, and then just trying to leave it in the dust, basically. And we always say next play if something happens, and for us, that just means kind of leave it in the past and move on.
The team event, it was a 6-point swing in that team event. How confident are you in that team event? And is it your best event? Is it something that you're that confident in that if you are down going into that final event, you can pull off the win like you did in Meet 1?
Sure. We train team event a lot. As you saw, it's intricate. There's lots of room for error, also a lot of room for success. Our team event is structured in a way that it's going to hit, and as long as everyone's checked in mentally, I feel confident that they will be able to, either take the lead or stay ahead, with that team event that we've constructed. And what's exciting is that it's not even our full potential yet. So I'm excited to kind of make some upgrades later down the road in the season as we get better. And it's a fun one. So I'm excited to see how they execute further.
You mentioned not full potential. Where are those areas that you're trying to improve? You get to evaluate the action and the first real competition in Week 1, and now moving forward throughout the rest of the season, where do you want to see your team continue to grow?
Sure. In team event, we haven't maxed out our start values yet, so I'm excited to hopefully increase in our acro and our toss sequences. A little bit in tumbling, not too much there. We're actually upgrading tumbling this week as we go into Baylor in our tumbling event in the quad pass. So keep an eye out there. But, for the rest of the events, it's really just being consistent and kind of executing a little bit better meet from meet.
Head coach, acrobatics and tumbling, Taylor Susnara, joining us. They're going on the road to Baylor this weekend, and that's a big meet. 1 and 2, and the defending national champions in Baylor. It's a big contest coming up this weekend.
Yep, it's always, a little bit heated, friendly competition when we go to Baylor. Their fans are, rowdy. They're excited, just as they are at MKA. But it's a little bit different of a pressure for the team. We always say faceless opponent, but going in 1 versus 2, it's going to be a fun meet. It's going to be, head-to-head competition throughout the whole time. And it's going to be sort of survival of the fittest, who's going to show up and who's going to execute the best. 1 and 2, they're both talented teams, and I think it's just going to come down to who executes the best.
When going up against a team like Baylor, how much do you view this as sort of a measuring stick moving forward throughout the season? It's the first time you're going to face them, twice in the regular season, and then potentially in the postseason as you continue to move forward. How much do you look at this as a coach as a measuring stick for potential national championship and all those aspirations down the line?
Sure. It's a big measurement. It's only our second meet of the season, so, I don't expect perfection. What I hope is that we're going to show up and feel really satisfied at the end, whether that's a win or a loss. But I think how we show up in Waco this weekend will definitely be kind of an eye-opener on what we need to work on, maybe what things we can continue being really good at and hone in on, and if it comes out with a win, awesome. We got some work to still do and upgrades to keep going with. If it's a loss, then we know what we need to fix, and hopefully when we see them again, we'll get that W.
Sunday, 1 o'clock, it's going to be the first road meet of the year for acrobatics and tumbling. It'll be televised on ESPN+. The first time you're going on the road, that always bonds a team a little bit to get on the road for the first time and really work together and live together for that weekend.
Mm-hmm. The best time. I love traveling with the team. They're goofy, they're silly. They know when it's time for business, but when it's not, they're either studying or they're playing around with each other. And for me, on the bus, that's probably my favorite time to just get to know them a little bit more and see a little bit of a different side of them.
Anything else the fans should know before this weekend?
I don't think so. Tune in for the meet.
That's Coach Taylor Susnara. Here's to a fun business trip coming up in Waco, 1 versus 2. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. That's our conversation with Taylor Susnara. Top 2 teams in the country going at it on Sunday. We're going to go through a lot of events coming up this week. One of them, actually 4 of them, Oregon baseball. They gave the broadcaster a glove. Probably a good thing I'm in the booth. But we are going to preview the matchup between Oregon and Lafayette in the home opener for Oregon baseball. That's what's coming up next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano. Right now in the Country Financial Studio, I will be over at PK Park in, well, about 17 minutes from now when the show wraps up in 15 minutes. But Oregon baseball, their home opener, fans, great job already. Students, fantastic job already. Have already sold out more than double of the allotment that was originally scheduled to give out for student tickets. So great job by the students getting out. Weather is going to be fantastic for pretty much this whole weekend according to how the weather report looks right now. So yeah, let's keep it up throughout the entire weekend. A 4-game set against Lafayette. Next weekend, the series against UC Santa Barbara got moved to Oregon. Tickets available on all avenues on GoDucks.com, so check those out. And let's continue to pack PK Park. But for this opener, there are 2 new faces for the Ducks, 2 new freshmen that got starts, or rather got a start last week with the second baseman Ryan Cooney, and then someone who will get a start this week with the freshman pitcher Toby Twist in the starting rotation. Both of them new faces for the Ducks. Get familiar with a few of the new Ducks that will come to PK Park. First, it's going to be the second baseman who talked with the media just a few days ago. It's Ryan Cooney up the middle for the Ducks. He had a pretty solid weekend. His teammates have a lot of positive things to say about him. We'll see him on the diamond coming up later today at PK, and we'll hear from him right now on Duck Insider. Here's the second baseman, Ryan Cooney.
Baseman, or you play shortstop in high school?
I played shortstop in high school, but I mean, I can play either position. It doesn't really have a choice. I'm just here whatever the coach tell me to do, but yeah.
What were you more nervous about? First ground ball that was hit to you, or your first AB?
I think the nerves were just overall, there in general. That first ground ball of the game came to me, and then after that it was smooth sailing. So, but yeah, probably just whatever came first, and it happened to be that ground ball.
Did you get the ball from your first hit?
I did not, no. Yeah, it's okay.
Overall, what did you make of your performance at this first weekend, and just where do you think you want to improve going forward?
I think it was good. I think I have a lot to improve on. I wish I could have came through there in that last game for the team. But that's baseball, and I think that's where I'm going to try and focus this week and into the future.
Defensively, you got a couple nice plays there at second. Just how have you become so fundamentally sound, and what's the work ethic like with you and Hinkle and with Carter up the middle?
It's awesome. I mean, we get out there and get after it every single day, and the older guys have really helped me and showed me how the program, the standard that is set, and Coach Hinkle's amazing, and they've just really helped me to be super consistent, and I think that showed this weekend.
What was the competition like going into the year where you come out on top for the second base spot?
I mean, the competition around the middle infield, it's there every single day. I think I just happen to be the guy that the coaches went with that weekend, and it's always going to be there, and it pushes all of us to be better every single day. So.
What do you think of the pitching staff just in general? Obviously, the bullpen had some good performances there. Just from your perspective, what did you see from them?
I thought everybody was super strong. Maybe some guys didn't have their stuff every single time, but I think it's really promising and it's really exciting as a position player to see those guys come out and compete like they did.
Quite the opening weekend for you to go to Texas, play in a big league ballpark in your opening weekend. Just what are your overall just impressions of your first 3 games?
I thought they were really good. I think obviously I have a ton to improve on, and I think that is going to show. I was really excited to get out there, and I was really happy that the coaches had the trust to put me out there as well.
Is there anything in particular that comes to mind on something you want to improve upon just from those 3?
I think just my approach at the plate in general, it was a big change from high school, of course, and the competition was fantastic this weekend. So I think my approach, I can just be a lot better there, and I have other things to work on hitting wise, but otherwise this was pretty good.
Home opener this weekend. How excited are you to get out at PK?
Very excited. We've been practicing on it for the past months, and I'm super excited to be in front of the crowd here. And PK is a beautiful place, so I'm really excited for that.
Certainly is a beautiful place today. Clear skies, it looks like on the forecast, and hopefully the rain will stay away. We just heard from Ryan Cooney, one of the freshmen, and Waz mentioned on Wednesday as well that Toby Twist, who gave 3 2/3 innings, 6 strikeouts in relief earlier this season on Sunday, last Sunday against Texas Tech. He'll get one of the starts in the doubleheader on Saturday. Here is the freshman, now starting pitcher, Toby Twist.
You guys go 2-1 this past week. Just what's been the kind of the vibe from you guys in the clubhouse?
Just to go out there, go into this week, going into the next weekend, and just keep working and just get better.
What do you think about your performance this week?
I thought it was good coming in for our debut. I thought I did pretty well. Obviously want to improve into going into next weekend.
Start this weekend. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I'm just going to go in there and just do what I do best with an open mindset and just keep competing.
What were the nerves like? What were the emotions like getting that first outing and then getting in that difficult spot? What was it like stepping on the hill for the first time?
It was nerve-wracking. Obviously, my heart was going through my chest, but I just had to settle down, take my breaths, and just keep an open mind and just go at guys.
What was the mindset like after you give up that home run, coming back, settling in, at one point retiring 8 in a row?
I didn't try to think too much of it. Just went out there, just saw he had a good swing. I missed my pitch before. But yeah, I just went after the next guys, just didn't think anything of it.
What's your pitch mix this year?
Fastball, changeup, curveball, slider.
On Sunday when you were in there, you threw your slider a lot to lefties and righties. Just what's your confidence level in that pitch?
It's pretty good. Just throwing it whenever Hawk calls it on the pitch comm. But I'm very confident with my pitching coach. Whatever he calls, I'm just gonna go at guys.
You like using the pitch comm?
I like it a lot. It's a lot faster. I don't have to look at numbers on the wristband. It just tells me fastball, slider, changeup, wherever to throw it at, and I just throw it.
Does it literally tell you? Is there a voice up there?
It's just a monitor, and you just have a little thing that goes up or down volume, and it tells you. It's pretty sweet.
I've always kind of wondered how that actually works. But what do you think of Bennett behind the dish? Just he caught all 3 games.
He's great. Always blocking and receiving really well, throwing guys out. He's a really good guy just to have back there, vet.
Is there a guy who's could be a sophomore, could be an upperclassman that you kind of attached yourself to this year? You try to learn as much as you can? I'd
say RJ Gordon and Isaac Aon just being the vet pitchers, just leaning on them, picking their brains, and just seeing kind of how they hold themselves and just what they've been through in this in Oregon, at Oregon.
It's kind of easy to make a comparison, but you and Grinsell, both guys are true freshmen last year, Grace and you obviously this year, just someone who could step up from the bullpen. You kind of talk to him about how he managed last year and those kind of expectations?
I haven't yet, but I've just seen how he holds himself and just how he throws his pitches. And obviously I'll get to, have more contact with him as the year goes on, but he's a great pitcher.
That's Toby Twist meeting with the media on Wednesday. Him and the Oregon baseball team will be in action in about 2 hours from now over at PK Park. We got to get in the timeout, and when we come back, all 26 events from this weekend. We're breaking them down on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're running out of time in the show, and there are 26 events to get through for the weekend for Oregon athletics. Yesterday, Oregon men's basketball kicked it off with the win over Stanford, and Oregon softball started their weekend with a split of UCF and Baylor. Earlier today, Oregon beach volleyball started their season, dropped their opening two games against Stephen F. Austin and Tulane. Oregon track and field will be in action all day today, all day tomorrow at the Ken Shannon Last Chance Invite up in Washington. Oregon women's tennis at 3 o'clock today on the road against Iowa. Streamlink on GoDucks.com. Softball with another doubleheader today, 3:30 against Notre Dame, 6 o'clock against Long Beach State at the Marionette Collegiate Classic. Those will be televised on Flow Softball on the radio for KWVA. Not Uretsky down there. Oregon baseball home opener, 4 p.m. That's where I'm going right after this across the PK Park. You'll have it on the Oregon live stream and the Oregon Sports Network with the pregame show starting at 3:45. Oregon women's basketball tonight at 7 o'clock, also on Pac-12 Washington. Chris Clayton will have a pregame show for that starting at 6:30. Then tomorrow, coming up, 9 events. I mentioned track and field. Oregon Beach will have a triple header. Then softball will play Nebraska at 10 a.m. Men's tennis against Cal Poly, baseball with a doubleheader, and Oregon men's basketball against Cal at 4 o'clock, 3:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network. And on Sunday, women's tennis versus Iowa State, women's basketball versus Wazoo at 12 o'clock, 11:30 pregame show, men's tennis, baseball, acrotum, and lacrosse. That's all 26. There's so much going on. Watch them all, listen to them all. Go Ducks.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in,